It was one of my most incredible years where I can look back on my vision board, and I created my first ever vision board last year. And I'm like, wow, my life is half of the vision board is my life, which is a crazy thing to say. Beautiful freaking people. Happy New Year. It's been a crazy, wild ride for me, honestly. And this is my first recording. It's my first time getting on the mic, getting in front of a camera, honestly, in a really long time. Not just the first of the year, but this is my first time just coming back in a really long time. And the truth is, the reason why I haven't been showing up on here, I haven't been consistent, I haven't been consistently posting, replying to comments, anything. Like, consistently creating, consistently showing up, is I've just had this really weird, I don't want to call it burnout because it's not even burnout. It's more just like uninspired. This feeling of dread and feeling like I just have to do it to check off a box, and I'm not doing it because it's truly what's making me happy. And it's crazy because obviously this is how I make my full-time living. Like, my livelihood depends on creating content and showing up. But the last few months, it was just a dud for me. And I got really caught up in this like comparison mode. I got really caught up in feeling uninspired, not wanting to show up, not knowing what to say. As a result, a lot of my content that I would post just flopping. I'm in my flop era right now. And that's not even what the point of this episode was supposed to be, but I'm just going on a little rant because I wanted to give you guys a life update and share with you some explanations as to why I just haven't been showing up. So that is what is going on in my life. And with this new year and with a fresh start, there are some things that I've been doing, leading up to the new year, and then also in this first week integrating into the new year, that I wanted to share with you guys. And I wanted to share with you why I'm not doing New Year's resolutions. But I wanted to share with you what I'm doing instead and what I found works for me. And my approach to everything is try on things that sound interesting, that sound exciting, that sound appealing, and leave out the rest. You never have to have my exact system. I don't believe that what works for one works for all, but I do think that there might be like little things that you can pick from my method and what's working for me. Because this last year, 2023, honestly, even with this content rut and this creative rut and inspiration rut, it was one of my most incredible years where I can look back on my vision board, and I created my first ever vision board last year. And I'm like, wow, my life is half of the vision board is my life, which is a crazy thing to say. Literally, when I was looking at all the pictures on my vision board, I was like, wow, like I lived that, I experienced that. And it's a crazy thing. So I was inspired to make another vision board this year. And last year, I went to a vision board party hosted by my friend Jackie. Shout out Jackie Riso if you're watching this. And I went in with zero intentions, really. And she had all of these pictures and all of these books and all of these things. And my whole method was just like anything that I looked at that inspired me, I cut out. That was it. I didn't need a reasoning. It didn't need to make sense. But if it like sparked joy, sparked desire, it was like, oh, that's beautiful. Or, oh, I like that. Or, oh, I want to be there. Or, oh, I want my house to look like that. Like I cut it out, and I didn't even doubt why I had that desire. And that was my whole method. And this year I pretty much did the same thing. I went through, and any picture that just sparked joy, I took it. And another method that I'm implementing this year is I went through all of my pictures in my life that used to be on my vision board. And I printed those out, and I cut them out, and I'm putting them on my vision board as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is it's just validating that what I once dreamt of is now my reality. My secret, that's what's worked for me when it comes to vision boarding, is putting things on my vision board that inspire me, but also like don't feel so unattainable. So I'm not putting like $20 million mansions on my vision board because honestly, my mind would be like, what the hell is that? But like a new modern apartment in Hawaii, something I feel like I can get behind. So that's what's working for me, is like, what's that next step that gets me excited in my life that I feel like I can bring to life in the next few years. That's what I'm putting on my vision board. And I'm not saying not to dream big, but for me, I used to put what I would want in like 10, 20 years, and my mind would go, you can't have that. Who are you to have that? And I had all of these limiting beliefs and all of these things that blocked me. And it just never even inspired me to work because it felt so far off from my current life. But things where it was like, oh, I feel like I can make this trip this year. You know, even if it felt out of reach, like the Maldives last year, you guys, there was so much self-sabotage that was going on this trip where I felt like I wasn't worthy of an overwater bungalow. I wasn't worthy of going on such an expensive and extravagant trip that I almost self-sabotaged it and didn't even make it happen. I'm not saying that it not to dream, and I'm not saying that it needs to just feel so easy that it doesn't inspire you. Like, it might feel a little uncomfortable. It might feel a little bit out of reach. But when you think about it and you kind of face those fears and you uncover those blocks, it is something that you could really bring into fruition. And so it doesn't need to be a vision board for you guys. It could be journaling it out. It could be meditating. It could be going for a walk and just visualizing it. The secret is whatever gets you in that desire and that inspired feeling. That's the secret. So it doesn't need to be a vision board. It doesn't have to be a journal. It doesn't have to be meditation. It can be working out and you get in that creative flow. For a lot of times, movement is my medicine, and movement is the thing that gets me into that spark of inspiration. So it's different for everyone. And play with these different modalities, play with these different energies, and see what works for you, what inspires you, what gets you in that vibe. The next thing that I am doing, instead of resolutions or goals, not really setting any goals this year. I mean, I do have goals, like business goals and stuff like that, but I really have more intentions more than anything. And one thing that's helped me figure out what my intentions are was journaling and getting really clear on what do I want more of and what do I want less of. So I literally got out my journal and I just drew a line right in the center and I put more, less. And I just let it free flow. I want more of this, less of this, more connection and community, less comparison and scrolling, more home cooked meals and following a nutrition plan, less eating out, binging, and ordering in. So I just made this more or less list to just get very clear on what do I desire and what do I want to let go of. That just helped me get in my intentions of what do I really want this year. And from that list, I really started to just write down words that I really wanted to feel and I wanted to bring into a full expression this year. Some of those words were abundance, connection, community. These are all words that just felt really aligned. Alignment was another one of them. And so I haven't quite narrowed it down to one word, but I really have a handful of words that I know in certain areas of my life I really want to put focus and intention on. And this more and less list, I've actually been doing it daily because sometimes it changes. And I've been doing it daily just to get really, really clear, especially this week as I'm setting my intentions for the rest of the year and what I want to cultivate and bring in this year. The more and less list it's been really helpful, and it's released a lot of this pressure of like everything has to be so absolute. I feel like there's so much pressure around this time of year with people pushing out that you have to get your fitness goals on track, get your business goals on track, be an absolutist or dive into all of these things. And I'm kind of going into it more softly and more slowly because, to be honest, the first day of this year was very difficult for us. I think having grace, if this year hasn't started exactly how you wanted it to, this is your sign that you always have a moment for a fresh start, because it definitely did not start how I wanted it to. So here's your moment for a fresh start, for a reset. You don't need January 1st to do that. You can do it in any moment. Just take a breath and restart and reset. Now, I wanted to dive into a program that I did recently. I see people doing it. I did it back in August and it ended October 15th. And then after October 15th, I hit like a really big relapse, honestly. It was 75 hard. And I will say, I didn't necessarily do it perfectly because there was one day that I didn't finish my gallon of water, and there was another day that I didn't read my 10 pages of personal development because I read it on my Kindle. You have to read it in a physical book. Anyways, it's a very, very stringent program. So I didn't do it perfectly, but I wasn't going to start over. But here's what I will say. Everything else, like I did every single day to a T, and it was very hard. But my body looked the best. I had amazing amounts of energy. I felt really, really high vibe and inspired because I was going on these daily 45-minute walks with me and Bonbon, which I loved. Even if I didn't feel like doing it, I did it. But it always made me feel better. The no alcohol was really great. Like following a nutrition plan was amazing. It forced me to read books that I haven't consistently read in a really long time. So there was a lot of great aspects to it. And at the very end of it, the goal was to get to my friend's wedding in Cancun, all-inclusive wedding. So it's all you can eat, all you can drink, all you can party. And we went into that, and I haven't given an update since because this is what happened. So many of you were asking me about how 75 Hard was and how was that challenge, because I documented it on my stories, but then I didn't tell you, like I didn't give you a post recap of it. And the truth is that I just face planted after that challenge. I don't know if it was winter and it got cold, but I started drinking. You know, like I wasn't an alcoholic, but I would have like a glass or two of wine like 3 to 4 times a week. I wasn't tracking my meals. I was eating out all the time, eating a lot of sugar, like binge eating. Like it was almost like the pendulum swung the other way completely, out of balance and out of whack. It was almost like I just rebelled because there was so much restriction and stringency. Like the program was so just hard that I just swung the pendulum the other way. And I'm not saying this to discredit the program because I know it's done amazing things for a lot of people. And honestly, while I was on it, it felt really good. But the reason why I never gave an update is because by the time that I came around to having an update, I was like, well, I just got done like binge drinking at an all-inclusive resort for 3 days. I feel like crap. I haven't worked out. I haven't even picked up a book. Like it was almost like I was rebelling against it. And I didn't want to give a bad review about the program because I had such a bad like relapse after the fact. I'm not saying that the program's bad. I'm just being real with you guys of what happened to my life. Like I was just on the top of a mountain. Like I felt really good. I was in the best shape of my life. I looked really good. And then like literally just drank, ate, binged, sugar, not tracking, not caring, gained weight. Like, and it's not about the physical aspect. It was more so the mental. But it was just all these things that happened, and I'm human, and I just wanted to share it. So in the beginning of this year, when people are setting a lot of like health and fitness goals and they're doing challenges, 75 Hard was obviously something that came into my mind. I already knew. I was like, no alcohol. I'm not having alcohol for the first 2 months of the year. That to me was already And then I know I wanted to follow a nutrition plan again because honestly, like when I'm tracking my macros, I'm hitting my protein and calorie goals, like, and I'm eating home cooked meals and I'm cooking my food, I just feel better. I look better. I have more energy. So those were 2 things that I definitely wanted to take from the program, is the no alcohol and the tracking the food. Another thing that I wanted to bring in was walking Bonbon every single day for 45 minutes because that was like my meditation time. It was me having an excuse to go outside, to bond with my dog, to put in my headphones, to listen to an audiobook or a podcast, or just put on music or like a walking meditation and just have me, like my me time. So that was another thing that I knew I wanted to bring in from the program. And then the personal development, I didn't want it to be where like I had to read a physical book for 10 pages because I have my Kindle, I have audiobooks. I didn't want to restrict myself so much to a physical book. But I put 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes of some type of personal or business growth. So that could be as simple as a meditation. It could be a YouTube training. It could be an audiobook, a podcast. It could be reading a physical book. It could be learning a new skill, something like that. But I wanted to do at least 10 minutes every single day. And obviously it goes on longer for me. You know, it ends up being 30 minutes to an hour, but I put 10 minutes in there just to make it something that I'm like, I can get 10 minutes in. And so these were aspects of the program. The gallon of water, I was like, no, not doing that. But the half my body weight in water, yes, I can get behind that and I can do it. So there's aspects of it that just I wanted to take that felt more balanced. What I actually loved about the 75 Hard app, which is where I'm taking you guys with all of this, is that in the 75 Hard app, it had this tracking system where you had to take a progress photo. You had to like check your first workout, your second workout, your gallon of water, your 10 pages, all of these things. And so it just gives you this dopamine to check off a to-do list. You know what I mean? Like, at least for me, I'd be like, oh, I got it. And it just feels really good. So I was trying to emulate that or find something like that. But I didn't want it to be 75 Hard because I didn't want to do those exact tasks. I wanted to do something that felt more aligned and more balanced for me, that is something that like I'm like, these are habits that I want I could just continue for the rest of my life until I don't need to put them down as a habit anymore. So I found this app because I downloaded all of the habit tracking apps, you guys. Literally every single habit tracking app I downloaded, and I went through and I tried to find and tested out every single one. And the one that I found that I love, it is called OnRise. So on OnRise, you can enter in all of your goals, the habits that you want to do, the frequency, like twice a day, once a day, twice a week, whatever the case, the duration. Sometimes it doesn't need a duration. Like sometimes it's literally like wake up at 6 a.m. Sometimes it is 10 minutes of personal or business growth. So you can do all of that. You can also colorize it. So I've been color coordinating things based on personal, health, mindset, and business. So I've kind of just been separating them and color coordinating them. And then you can just literally check it off every single day and it gives me that same satisfaction. So I like that aspect. The app is called OnRise. I'll link it below. It's free. The last thing that I wanted to give you guys an update for on where I'm going with my YouTube, with my podcast, more of this longer form content, because I've been really struggling with the long form content. I'm not gonna lie. A big reason I can make all of the excuses is that I need a new computer, because the editing for this long form content, it would take like 6 hours to export a 20-minute video. Sometimes 7 hours, that I don't have access to a laptop, that I'm just exporting something. And it just became one of those things where it just wasn't a high enough priority on my list to do. So we made an investment. We got a new PC. It was a big investment. With that said, with this, I was in my SoulCycle class this morning. And on the note of like what excites me or what sparks joy, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what gets me amped up. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what excites me. But I do know that having some type of like challenge or focus or goal, like that, those things do excite me. And in the meantime, February is the shortest month of the year. And I've been wanting a challenge where I'm posting a video and a podcast every single day. And in my SoulCycle class, I just had this burst of inspiration. I was like, what if I do a 28-day challenge? And at first I was like, maybe I'll do it like a 28-day shuffle challenge. But I was like, no, I don't want it to be just shuffling. I was like, okay, like what if I do like a 28-day self-love challenge? No, I don't want it to be just self-love. So I am gonna walk on this. I'm gonna move on this. I'm gonna journal it out and figure out exactly what this 28-day challenge is. But it's gonna look something along the likes of a new podcast and a new YouTube video every single day for the month of February. And you guys can follow along and do this challenge with me. And I haven't quite mapped it out yet, but that is what I have envisioned for February. And I just want to share it with you guys. And it literally just came up today. In the meantime, I am going to be trying to put out weekly content, starting with this every week for the month of January, weekly long form, and a weekly podcast episode. And I honestly feel like I might be putting out more podcast episodes just because it's easier to hit record in my jammies with no makeup on than to get the camera out and do the whole setup and all of those things. So make sure you are subscribed to the High Vibe podcast on Spotify or iTunes, just so you don't miss any of those extra episodes. But I am going to be trying to put out weekly long form YouTube videos. And I just want to say thank you to all of you that are still here, to all of you that still continue to support me, even in my moments where I'm not showing up. And I just wanted to be vulnerable and share this with you guys, because I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, life happens. And I think a lot of creators just don't talk about this. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.